This day in Philly sports history is proud to be a part of the Clashing Conferences Sports Fan Network, where passionate fans make powerful content. Check out theclashingconferences.com and join the squad today. What's up, everyone? Welcome to this day in Philly sports history for August 18th, 2026. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Welcome to a Tuesday edition of the podcast. Happy first day of school to all of my teachers out there from my current position. They all come back today, and the fun really gets underway. But it is Tuesday. Let's start with a little Tuesday motivation / positivity brought to you by the Clashing Conferences. As it said, go to clashingconferences.com to see how you can join the squad today and check out their podcast wherever you get your podcasts as well as on YouTube. And today I'm going to borrow this from Nick Sirianni via Joshua Metcalf. And Nick said this when he opened up training camp, and I've been sitting on it for a little bit here. Everyone wants to be great until it's time to do what greatness requires. And I felt this was a good time to do this. It's the first day of school for my teachers. First day of school for me, really, as I feel good about this school year. We went through a lot last year. I documented it and talked about it on here, but I feel really good going into it. And I think the fact that we were all able to kind of survive it, it ties in with a lot of the things we're talking about. It's time for us to step up and be great. And I think what Metcalf was saying and why Sirianni borrowed it is that greatness is the byproduct of the boring work. Getting up early, staying late, the repetitions, the stuff that nobody sees. That's what we're kind of going into with the new school year. This is the boring stuff that you don't go right into a classroom and start teaching kids. You got to put in the work in August, through all the trainings, the meetings, the stuff that is boring. But these are the things that you have to do in order to be great. Because truthfully, if it was easy to be great, everybody would be great. And I think what this quote is saying is that everybody says they want to be great until they see what they have to do. And I'm sure there's going to be some teachers today who are like, we have to do what? And aren't ready to take that step yet. But we'll get there. And like I said, it's these little things, the stuff that nobody sees. It's the getting up, putting in the workout, staying late, doing the plans or whatever it is, grading papers, doing the research, tweaking a lesson. And Metcalf gives this metaphor, and I really liked it. You can hit a boulder 100 times and nothing happens. On that 101st time, though, if it breaks in half, was it that final hit that did it? Or was it the 100 ones you did prior to it that helped break it? Everybody's going to see that boulder broke in half. They're not going to see the other 100 times that you hit it. So it was the result, that boulder, of all of those subsequent steps and hits that led up to it. And to be great, you have to show up and hit that stone. I mean, if you're tired, if you're bored, if you feel stuck, you got to hit number 67, 68, 75, 80. You got to continue to show up and do it. You might not see it. It might be boring, and you might just feel like giving up sometimes. But if you continue to show up and put in the work, good things are going to happen. And I think we need to stop waiting for the breakthrough or the inspiration or something to fall in our lap. And I think inspiration is cheap. Commitment is expensive. So waking up early, hitting that stone for the 98th time and having nothing happen, that is what is expensive. That is commitment. And I think that's what you need to do to be great. We need to stop looking at the final destination and look at the next step. All right, it didn't break on hit number 45. Let me get up tomorrow and hit it on hit number 46. And I think we need to get away from looking at building a masterpiece and start with one perfect brick every day. So each day, lay a perfect brick. And over time, those perfect bricks will turn into the masterpiece. So as we go through our weeks and the next couple months, specifically for any educators and teachers out there, embrace the grind. It's going to suck. It's not fun. It's boring. But get up, embrace it, hit that stone, and then eventually you'll be great. Hopefully you can take, even if you're not an educator, you can take something out of that throughout your weeks. But everybody wants to be great until they see what it takes to be great. So I think, and I paraphrase it there, but I think that's the thing. Embrace the grind. Go out there and do the little things. Look, it's day one. Today is going to be the worst day of it all. Maybe tomorrow. And then eventually you're going to start getting into those habits. And then it just becomes part of your daily routine. All right, we got some Phillies news. And don't look now. Your Phillies are hot. 4 in a row. Good win yesterday, 6-5. It's kind of a fun win. It got a little dicey at times. Christopher Sanchez was good. Became the first pitcher in Major League Baseball to hit 16 wins. Bullpen, they were a little shaky, but they shut it down. They called a break on the ball that the umpire initially called foul, and it ended up being fair. But, hey, sometimes you got to get a little lucky. But that certainly changed it because that game would have minimally been tied. But they got out of it with a win. Have a one-game lead now over the Padres for the second wild card spot. Only 6.5 behind the Braves. I'm not ready to write them off quite yet for the Braves, but I think we need to see this consistently. And as far as Sanchez with the wins, I know wins don't necessarily mean anything anymore, or I shouldn't say anything, but mean as much as they used to when I was younger. But he should be able to get to 20 wins, which back in the day, kids, for those of you who don't know, it was a pretty big deal to get 20 wins. So rooting for Sanchez to get 20 wins. They're back at it tonight. Same teams down at the park. Zach Wheeler on the mound. Hopefully they can win a Zach Wheeler start. They haven't been good in his past few starts. So hopefully that changes and turns around tonight. And I think one of the bigger keys for this turnaround, this little bit of resurgence they've been on since the Field of Dreams game, is their plate approach. And they're doing things that we've never seen before, or we haven't seen before out of this team anyway. They're being patient. They're working counts. They're getting walks, and it's all of them. It's not just a guy like Bryson Stott who's good at working the count. I mean, Alec Boehm he hit into a double play last night, but he's been pretty good over the past few games, and maybe they turn it around. Who knows? But that does lead us into today's question of the day. Phillies vibe check time. We haven't done this in a while, and this is a good time to do it because I feel like right now they're at a crossroads. How are we feeling about the Phillies? 267-495-8531. That's the Back to the Future voice and text line. Call me, text me. Tell me how you're feeling about this team. Is this me starting to maybe do a little thing like I do with the Sixers with Lucy with the football? Or can this team sustain it and make a run? It was dicey. I was ready to write them off not that long ago. And like they say in The Godfather, just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in. But how are we feeling? 267-495-8531. That's the Back to the Future voice and text line. It's a Phillies vibe check Tuesday. How are we feeling? Let me know. And then the other news from the Phillies, and this is a weird one. It was reported that Dave Dombrowski likely will get an extension in the offseason, which I guess we kind of talked about and we figured. Why not just give it to him now then? Or is Middleton kind of holding out and seeing what happens with the rest of the season? But the other part of that is Alex Cora is expected to be the next Phillies manager unless Don Mattingly takes this team to the World Series. Weird. Am I the only one who thinks that's weird? Like, and the position that you put, and to Mattingly's credit, the position that you put him in is terrible, but he handled it well. He was like, I'm not even thinking about that. I'm just trying to go out and win a game tonight, which I guess is what you want. Now, look, Mattingly has been okay. I know he turned it around, but recently some of his moves have been questionable at best. But to put this dude in that type of position is just weird. I'm getting almost like major league type vibes here where they're going to just have a team meeting and say there's only one thing left to do. Go out and win the thing. So we'll see what happens. But I just felt that was weird that that's the report. Now, nobody officially within the Phillies organization has said that. But to have those reports out there, like if we don't hear from Dombrowski today, I almost get the sense then that is true. Which it's just to borrow a line from my kids, it's just an icky situation to put Mattingly in. But hey, maybe Bryce Harper pulls a Jake Taylor impersonation and Phillies go out there and win the whole effing thing. Crazier things have happened. Baseball, am I right? All right. Sean Mannion spoke to the press yesterday. Mixed vibes and mixed reviews on what he said, and I thought it was great. He, from a standpoint of, he was like, yeah, we didn't execute certain things, but it was purposely a vanilla type offense. It seems like they're going to open it up a little bit more this week for the Patriots. And like it or not, this dude, it's the first time he's calling plays. And I think the biggest thing that people were taking away from that is like, oh, he doesn't know what he wants to do. And look, he called the plays from the sideline. He's going to sit up in the booth now for this game and see how it goes. This is the time to do it. I think what we're forgetting is that this is practice. None of these games count. Jalen Hurts throwing interceptions in training camp, they don't count. Sean Mannion trying to figure things out. I'd rather him figure this out now than week 1 against Washington. Like, I just don't understand. I guess because there's so much media coverage and social media and everything about camp, but it's like, it's camp. Let it go. Let these guys work it out. And again, I just don't see it. But people are going to do what people do. It was good to see Devontae Smith back at practice yesterday as they get ready to head to New England for the joint practice and the big. Everybody's going to be hyping it up, and AJ and the Eagles and everything. And I wish, this is what I wish was on TV, the joint practice, because this is where you're going to see more than what you're seeing in preseason games. But it's practice, man. We're talking about practice. But that does lead us to today's question of the day. Are we concerned? I know I talked about this before, but what was your takeaway from what Sean Mannion said? I think it's a guy trying to figure out the best way to help this football team. And again, I'd rather have it now. So I guess the question is, how much stock do you put into it? I mean, yesterday everybody was like, it's just practice, but... Or it was split 50-50, I should say. Sorry. I'm like, my mind's all over the place. But it was split 50-50 yesterday. But it's just practice. I just don't know. So that was yesterday's question of the day. It was the question of the day recap. Today's question of the day, though, is the Phillies vibe check. So we're clear on that. Maybe it's preseason for me, too. Who knows? But I'm looking forward to the joint practice to see, because everybody says that this is the true test of the preseason, because starters just don't play in preseason games anymore. But I don't know. I felt what Mannion said was exactly what I wanted him to say. If he came out and said, I thought everything was great, then I would question what he was saying. But he said, look, it could have been better. He felt comfortable. He felt I forget what word he used, but from like the logistical standpoint, everything was where it needed to be. They just didn't have many of the plays called or in the playbook or whatever you want to do. And Andy Reid used to do it all the time. Andy Reid used to come out and say, we're not showing anything. So this is practice. let the man decide where he wants to sit. Personally, I would rather be on the sideline, but if he gets a better view of what everybody's doing up in the booth, sit in the booth. Vic Fangio sits in the booth. Come on, man. It's practice. All right, some quick housekeeping. From yesterday, I have not done this in a very, very long time. I had my dates mixed up. So yesterday I said that it was the Carter Hart had the shutout for the Flyers in the playoffs. That happened. However, it happened on August 16th, not August 17th. So I had the dates one day off. But as I always like to do, make sure that everything you're getting is 100% accurate. So Carter Hart became the youngest player to have a shutout on August 16th, not August 17th. And to answer that trivia question, Pete Peters. Everybody gets every other goalie in Flyers history, I feel, except for Pete Peters. Pete Peters was the youngest Flyer to have a shutout in the playoffs, and he did that in 1980 versus the Rangers. All right. Be sure to follow me on all social media at Philly Jimbo. Subscribe to the YouTube channel at Philly Jimbo as well. Stay tuned for the Brotherly Birds breakdown. That'll be out Thursday. Still working with Kyle on the timing of that. And then the Philly Hall. Got some meetings lined up this week. We will be back very, very soon for that as well. Turn heads and bring the hype with a custom hype chain from Lotwin. Perfect for youth sports, fantasy football, or just flexing your pride. Go to Lotwin.com. Use the promo code TCCPOD for 10% off your order. That's Lotwin.com. Promo code TCCPOD for 10% off. Get your custom hype chain and get hype with Lotwin. All right, August 18th. First, we're going to go back to 1972. And on this day in 1972, Phillies lose to the Astros 4-3 at the Vet in front of just under 12,000 fans. The night before, they had almost 43,000 fans, but that's the difference. I guess you get the Steve Carlton effect back then. But on this day, John Bateman, Darren Johnson, and Larry Bowa all hit home runs. For Larry Bowa, it was his first career home run in over 1,700 career at-bats, and it was an inside the Parker. So Larry Bowa hits his first career home run today at inside the Parker in the Phillies' 4-3 loss to the Astros on this day in 1972. And then fast forward to 1997. Phillies beat the Giants 12-3. Mike Lieberthal and newly acquired Billy McMillan hit grand slams. For Billy, it was his first major league home run, and it was the second time in Phillies team history that they hit two grand slams in the same game. It has happened 4 times since then. But Billy McMillan and Mike Lieberthal both hit grand slams. Phils beat the Giants 12-3. And then in 2006, more Mike Lieberthal. Phillies lose to the Nationals 6-4 at Citizens Bank Park, but it was all about Mike this day. He played in his 1,125th career game as a catcher for the Phillies, breaking Red Duan's career record for games played as a catcher for the Phillies. He had himself a day to celebrate, though. Went 3 for 4 with a homer, 3 RBI, a double, and also threw out 2 base runners. So I was looking back through my notes from last year. We declared this Mike Lieberthal Day. So everyone, happy Mike Lieberthal Day. He hit a grand slam and then broke the Phillies' career record for games caught, and then had himself a day, even though the Phillies lost. 3 for 4, homer, double, 3 RBI, and then threw out 2 base runners. And that leads us into today's trivia question. Who is the Phillies' career leader in games played? Any position. Hit me up on the Back to the Future voice and text line 267-495-8531. That is the Back to the Future voice and text line. The Discord channel, the link is in the description, or any of my social media accounts. And then from there, we're going to fast forward to 2020. Michael Raffle and Philip Myers scored. Carter Hart was outstanding again, had 29 saves for his second consecutive shutout. Flyers go up 3-1 on the Canadians back in 2020 in the bubble. And I got the date right this time. That's what made me realize. I'm like, wait a minute, they played back-to-back games? No, they didn't. I made a mistake, and I'm willing to admit that. But Carter Hart, second consecutive shutout. Michael Raffle and Philip Myers scored for the Flyers as they beat the Canadians 2-0 to go up 3-1. Carter Hart legitimately was standing on his head in this series. On this day in 2006, Mike Lieberthal breaks the Phillies record for games played as a catcher. 1997, he and Billy McMillan both hit grand slams, second time in team history that happened, and Larry Bowa hits his first career home run on this day and inside the Parker in the Phils' 4-3 loss to the Astros. We'll have you update on the Phillies Marlins tomorrow as the Eagles get ready for the joint practices with the Patriots. Let me know your thoughts. Where are our vibe checks here for the Phillies? Hit me up on the Back to the Future voice and text line. We feeling good? Are we just waiting till October? What's the deal? I think the approach is different. I've noticed it. So whether or not they continue down that road, that's a whole different question. But they seem to be way more patient at the plate than they have been in a long time. Maybe it's the Arise effect. I don't know, but I will take it. And remember, do the little small things, the boring, dirty grunt work to be great, because everybody wants to be great until it's time to do what greatness requires. So go out, be great, hit that boulder. And to any of my teachers out there listening, I'll see you in a couple hours. Welcome back. Let's go be great together. This has been This Day in Philly Sports History for August 18th, 2026. My name is Jim Montgomery. Go have yourselves a Tuesday. And until next time, I'll see you when I see you.